Hey, beautiful souls, just thought I would do a connection today on something that came to me and reminded me of a channel that I had done last year, and a new channel that had come in, Samurai Warrior, which surprised me, I have to say. And at the end of this channel, I was given this word. He ended with Bushido. And I looked up this word, I wrote it down. I was like, oh, I must remember this. And this word Bushido is the code of the Japanese samurai warrior. And I wanted to share it with you because I was reminded about this today when I listened to an interview, Next Level Soul interview, that was being conducted with this veteran warrior person. Well, he's not. Well, no, he did call himself a warrior, actually, but anyway. And I thought I would share this with you because it seems to me in this time now of chaos and conflict that we're all in, and, you know, there is this thing about wanting to experience peace and unity, and it seems that as we're wanting to do that, less and less it seems to be apparent on the surface, because it is happening all over the place, actually. So bear with me while I read this to you, and I hope this will be of some help. I'll do a little bit of explanation, maybe within it and after it, in how this is really important for light workers, actually, for those healers, for those who are, you know, here seeding the field with other possibilities to raise consciousness in a time where there seems to be such a pull towards burying humanity's consciousness, which is actually humanity's soul. You know, we're talking about more than being conscious, aware that we're living creatures. We are souls embodied in this human experience, which is pretty intense at the moment. And if it's not intense for you, well done, my darling. You're either in denial or you're probably already ascended or something. Anyway, I'm going to read this. It's short, it's not a huge amount, but I hope it helps. So, samurai. Humanity is upon the precipice of change. This, what is termed chaotic energetic, is in the last throes of the dissension, ascension. But how you put it is not truly as it is. So he's saying we understand ascension, or we think we do, but it's not quite as we feel, or we think it might be. Humanity is in the throes of awakening consciousness. The embodiment of sovereignty that you term battle, the battle for the light, is a contradiction to how the requirement of the embodiment and the living of the light and the God force of creation is wishing this, intending this, and creating this. Each must embody the peace within themselves, and this battle, so to speak, is already done. For nothing, and you are aware of this, nothing can be apart from the source of all that is. For all is the source of all that is. But we put this word virus, for the virus has infected. Yet the source, as you say, is ineffable. So it's an ineffable, not understood fully by our human minds, which I say many times, but we try and understand. The battle is won, it is complete, yet each being is required to remove the fear, and this is done as each light worker and we are aware you do not like this word, which is true, this concept. But for the grace of all that is, each bearer of light is seeding the field, and this light is expansive and expanding. Yet, as you know, the light shines itself, the shadow seems and appears bigger. Yet it is there only to be exposed as what it is, a shadow. And the shadow has no substance. There is no substance. The mind brings the substance for which that is. What is the word? For that which is only the reflection, the duality of the time frame reality that is not the reality of the divine being. So how we're perceiving it, you see, is not necessarily how the divine does, but of course not, because we're just these specks of divinity and the divine is it. Anyway, all is an example of what is possible. And these souls of teaching, these embodiments, that even though they may not be aware that they are the embodiments of what is not preferred in this human experience, these embodiments are here to open the hearts of those that perceive. And these embodiments are here to serve in all ways, even though you may not wish to see this as the right way to be. There is no right. Each of these souls, yes, there is talk of karmic debt, cause and effect. This is not the truth of source and the divinity. These are the living examples to show each human being the preference that is required to be lived and chosen. So what they're saying is these both sides of the coin, where they're the victims, the victimizers, the abuser and the abused. They're embodying, so we can all see that they're living these sides of the coin. You know, there's one frequency, but different expressions. And they're showing us as a humanity, look, do you really want this? Is this how you want the world to be? Is this how you want to treat people? Is this how you want to experience life? And so they're showing cause and effect. Yes, not karmic stuff. They're not here working out karma in that way. But they're showing that we need to make our preference and decide how we want this world to be. This prison planet, as many call it, is not a prison planet. It is a planet of choice and free will creation. And there is a crescendo now that is coming, and hear the rising of the crescendo, and the source will choose how this will be. For all the mechanizations, for all the manipulations, for all the density that has been brought, and the entity beings that have been invited, all shall be dispersed in a breath of divinity. I love that. You know, I love this, the power of the divinity, however that is. Anyway. And this is not the case for the chosen ones, for all are chosen. All are the cells, the firing, the experience that is part and parcel and embodied and conscious in the divinity of all that is. So this is not just for the few, this is for everybody, right? We will all be where we need to be. All are chosen because it can't not be chosen because we're all part of the divine. So it's very interesting what starts to come up now. And we feel your judgment and your wonder at who now speaks. That's me wondering, like, who is this being? Now speaks a warrior of light, a warrior of the light that is not the light of the compassions, but a warrior that cuts through the illusion, who has mastered the cutting and in the mastery enables humanity to cut away their illusions. For all, when not judged, all is, and nothing exists apart from the divinity, the creator, the source of all that is. So, this is not talking about sweetness and light necessarily. This is about cutting away the blade, anyway, I'm going to carry on because this is so important, what has been said. And yes, this is a different frequency you're connecting with. So I'm kind of talking to my guests and saying, you know, this is a bit different to what normally is brought through. There is no name needs to be given but samurai. And samurai has mastered that which is presumed physicality. And samurai is a dedication. And samurai is who I be at this time frame moment. For you to have the realization of what you call dark and light is embodied within each soul aspect across the universe. Yes, your discomfort with the discipline that I bring. But this discipline is the sword. Just as the surgeon uses the knife to cut away the decrepit virus, tumors, so my sword cuts away that which is choosing war, choosing non-peace. Yet each soul within this has their experience, and their experience seeds the field of possibility with the preference of that which humanity requires. For samurai does not judge. Samurai acts in the moment with the action that is required. So this is so, so important about the dedication and about the self-discipline, and that sometimes the sword is required to cut away whatever it is that is bothering the body, killing the body. Okay. But what is most important is that samurai does not judge. We act in the moment with the action that's required in the moment, right? And that may be love. It may not be. It may be, you know, marking boundaries in a fierce way. So samurai continues, I am here and I have come to impart this information from the samurai. So you have the choice and the realization that there are many ways of being, and the samurai, alchemists, masters of physical, ethereal consciousness, and you to see that this universal field of divine consciousness is seeded with much. So we're not being in this imbalanced place of love and light all the time, like that. Well, those of you who know me well will know that's not really where I come from in that way. They're saying that there's many ways to be, and this is another way of being, but it requires this dedication. And I learned more about this when I went into their teachings. Okay. I work with you, should you so choose, for you to realize that you too, who cut sometimes with the energy and the tongue, you are samurai. You have been samurai, hence your fascination with the arts of the martial. So yeah, I like martial arts. You choose this life, shall we say, without the sword, yet the sword must come from within to cut away the bullshit, shall we say. The bullshit first from the self, and then to cut away the bullshit that is, how do we say, that is exhibited in the external reality, that perpetuates the fear that goes into the hearts of the warriors who have been warriors, for them to remember their warrior nature. So Samurai is saying that it's time to remember that, yes, there is the way of the peaceful warrior. The sword is kept sheathed until such moment, and it is in the moment, that it is required. And Samurai is saying that it is required. And now something very interesting, because he talks about the Archangel Michael. You yourself have these examples, yes, with your brothers who are warriors. My brothers are, yeah, I come from a military family, so. And this is for humanity to remember its warrior nature. The sword of light, as the Archangel Michael will also and does also carry, in protection, in justice, and justice that is not the judgment that you make believe and think that is justice. It is the justice that this world was created to experience with the creation of non-justice. So this is the balancing. With the non-justice comes the notion of justice. If there was the true balanced human being, the true physical soul incarnated, there wouldn't be injustice. There would be sovereignty of all people. There would be fairness. There would be everyone thriving, or the move towards people thriving. So they say, before there was no justice, for there was no need. There was communion, and communion shall be returned. And also they were talking about Archangel Michael because, you know, with all the love and light community and let's be positive, blah, 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 and ignore what's going on in the world, you know, there's many New Agers call on Archangel Michael to, you know, but it's okay for Archangel Michael to bear the sword and wield the sword, but people don't want to do that themselves. And I'm not talking the sword of physicality sword. I'm talking about the sword that is required, the sharp mind, the sharp integrity. Anyway, so as you have your judgment, as I speak with you, realize you are being handed the sword, for you are a warrior, and the warrior has integrity. The warrior knows how to work in the etheric. The warrior knows how to work in the physical. The warrior has dedication and devotion, and you are required this. Yet the warrior does not accept in the moment. In the moment, the warrior does not act except in the moment. Sorry, that was my mistake. The warrior does not act except in the moment. And their action is taken only when one aggresses, and now this world is full of aggressors. And yet the true soul beings, the collective of humanity, the souls of humanity do not choose this. Yes, they choose this with their silent vote, but it is time now for the warrior is the protector of the people, just as Archangel Michael is the protector of the people, and you, my dear, are a protector of the people, yet you must keep the sword sheathed until it is so needed in the moment. So we're all being called, and this is what is said. For this sword of truth, this sword of protection is given to you, and it is handed to all of humanity, not to fight, but to cut away the ties that bind them in the enslavement of which they are being enslaved. And your desire to cut away the chains to release humanity, you do your piece, and each warrior does their piece. And so humanity will, in their infinite beingness, be freed. And then Samurai said to me, Bashido Samurai. And that's the way of the warrior. And it means those who serve. So, my darlings, what does that all mean? The sword first is used. You can't wield any sword if you're enslaved and you are, my words, but if you are bound by the system, bound by others, bound by yourself in the beliefs, in the behaviors and actions that are embodied in life, we first need to cut the ties that are our ties that are binding us, right? That's the first thing. And then to enable others by cutting the ties. And the sword then remains sheathed unless it needs to be drawn in a moment. And if you think about martial artists, it's like that. It's a split second. You know, one of my favorite people was Bruce Lee, philosopher, spiritual, wise man. Yet he was a killer. And I'm not suggesting we kill. What is being suggested and what samurai is suggesting is that it's not possible to sit on the fence. And we're in a time now where we're being asked to choose. And what are we going to choose? Well, most people, as I say, are choosing peace, but that doesn't mean peace ignoring the atrocities that are going on. It doesn't mean, and I'm talking from the wars, the genocides, not just that, but I'm talking the enslavement of people through lack of money, and money happens to buy things, right? And those things can be food, electricity, heat, cool, water, and what have you. That we're not talking a Ferrari. And everyone has a right to this. Everyone has a right to be free. Because actually we're not these human beings that we think we are. Well, we are because we're acting it out here. But we are spirits embodied, we're ghost embodied, right? And we are here. If you're a light worker, if that's what you like to call yourself, I call it a bearer of the light because we are the light, actually. But if you are, sometimes don't go calling on Archangel Michael to do your dirty deeds and cut the ties. You know, cut the ties yourself. Unsheathe that sword sometimes. And the sword, as Samurai said to me, I cut with my tongue, I cut with my thoughts, I cut with, you know, I can be quite cutting sometimes. Not to hurt people. I have no interest in hurting people. But because I guess there's a sharpness to me, because, you know, you could be a healer, but you're also a destroyer. Because we're destroying the disease, we're destroying the pain, we're whatever. I mean, for me, it's a transformation, but all the same, I'm still removing something, whether it happens to be an entity or it happens to be a belief about money or an anxiety or whatever. So we're here to transform. So worth looking at Next Level Soul, the interview he did today. I can't remember the name of the guy. And realize that, you know, there is the true warrior can be in, never be in battle, actually. The true warrior, as in drawing the sword and slaughtering people. But the true warrior is a defender of the people. The true warrior is a holder of the light in a way that is, I mean, look at lightning, right? If that strikes, it strikes, yeah? A true warrior is true to the people and true to themselves. And is dedicated and devoted to the master. And the master is the creator, the source of all that is. You know, I don't like that word in that context particularly, but that's what's come. Anyway, something for you to think about, really, my darlings. It's time to claim our sovereignty and for the whole of humanity, because we're about to hit the barriers, the crash barriers. And let's face it, if you hit the crash barriers in a freaking great truck, they're not going to do a lot to stop the other oncoming traffic. Anyway, this was not meant to be doom and gloom. It's more claim yourself. Claim your truth. Honor your truth. Whatever that may be, and honor another one's, but don't allow the bullshit anymore, because that was interesting. Samurai used that word. Didn't give me a Japanese swear word, so maybe there aren't any back in the old warrior days. We're not here to commit harikari, you know, the disemboweling of their own self because of honor or lack of honor. We're here to to know that the sword is here to defend the people, to defend those children, those elderly, those weaker, those who are not yet awakened to the forces that are inhabiting this mad world at the moment. Anyway, my darlings, love, love, love. And as I say, something to think of. Now, how strange. Let me end the meeting. Yes, love you.